killed the dinosaurs. The Ice Age.
Hello everybody! Today I have an unusual video because I'm using a fully evolved Pokemon. Like I mentioned in the tips last week, there are 365 days in a year, and that is Walrain's Pokédex number in the national one. It also fits since it's an ice type and it's most likely kinda cold if you live above the equator. Like for every other video I made, the rules are the same. I can only use the starter in combat, I can't use consumable items in combat, I can't raise my evasion, and I can't use any cheats or glitches. Let me know in the comments how you expect the run to go. I think it will be easy. Walrain has good stats and a decent move pool. The only unfortunate thing is that its type does not match very well against a lot of fights in this game. I got a nature that raises special attack because we are mostly going to be using ice and water moves, both of whom are special in this generation. The first fight against May is quite simple because we start with a super effective ice move. Maybe I should have gave her Mudkip for a bigger challenge. Next, we have to save the Sylph employee from the first Team Aqua grant. This fight is also easy, but it could go badly if I missed a lot because of sand attack. Thankfully it does not happen, so we can move on to the first gym fight. Roxanne was interesting since we both are super effective on each other, and while I have more stats, she has more Pokemons. The Geodudes are 4 times weak to water, but the Easter Island head is a bit more problematic. She can do a lot of damage with Rock Tomb, but I take her out with a second water gun. Once we obtained the first badge, there is the usual Pico side quest, but I'll skip it, and after that we can do the optional fight against May. Midway through, Walrain learned Body Slam, which is a great move this early in the game. Next, even if I have the type disadvantage again, I took on the second gym leader, and while Brawly can do a lot of damage to me with fighting moves, I can also hurt his Pokémons with my special ones. The fight starts really well for me, but the tide of battle quickly shifts when Makuhita almost one-shots me. Thankfully I can finish him before he can attack again. And so the second badge was kinda close again. We then can proceed to Slateport, where we have to stop some more grunts. Those guys are a lot easier and a welcome break from the 2 gyms we did so far. The Carvanas resist both of my stabs, but I can defeat him with a Body Slam, even if I have to take a bit of damage from their ability. Once we took care of both of them and had to endure Archie's ranting, we can move on, and before reaching the next town, we are approached by May, who wants another match. This time her Pokémons are quite a bit better, but unfortunately for her, they don't do very well into an ice type. Again, maybe Marshtomp could have done more, but I kinda doubt it. And then it's time for the electric gym. I lost once because of BS RNG. As you can see, I did not get to play the game for 10 turns, and Watson keeps alive the trend of gyms having the type advantage on us, but that will not stop us. Thankfully, he does not use electric moves very often, because he wants to paralyze me first to lower my speed. This time I'm not as unlucky as before, so we are able to get through his magnet. And ultimately I don't even get hit by a single electric move, except for Thunder Wave. With 3 badges in our camp, we have to go save countless lives for the first time of many in this game, by stopping Maxi from blowing up the Krakatoa. In this fight, his lead Mightyena is by far the strongest member of his team, considering that we are very super effective on the 2 other mons in the back. So this was barely an inconvenience. Well, onward to the next gym we go, I guess. Flannery is the first one to not be super effective on us, but instead we have the type advantage on her. Unfortunately, I did not learn any new water move, so Water Gun, while it's far from the best water move, will have to do. And to be fair, it gets the job done by removing all of her Pokémons, eventually. Once we have dealt with this gym, we have to rush over to the next one, as I usually don't do the desert bit because of all the Sand Veil Pokémons. The 5th gym is the first one where nobody has the type advantage, and as usual I was kinda scared about slacking. But this time I have a rest, so even if he manages to bring my HP low, I can heal back up with the rest, and thanks to him loafing, I should also have time to wake up before he can destroy me. That's not quite what happens though, and somehow I am able to win the gym fight without losing a single HP point. Once we defeated our father, we are given the Surf HM, so we finally have access to a good water move. Next, we have to defeat May again after the Weather Institute. This time she has it even worse than usual, because the natural rain in the area boosts Surf even more. After easily defeating her, we have to do the 6th gym. Winona is somewhat easy. Unfortunately for her, her flying types are very weak to Ice Beam, so most of the time they are going to go down in one hit. The only thing that can maybe survive are Pelipper and Skarmory, but I doubt that they will be able to be a thorn in my side. And with that, we have acquired one more badge. Only 2 gyms left for this run. Before we can take on the next one, we have some errands to run, like stopping Maxi again. I mean, his team is better than before, his levels are much higher, and he evolved Zubat into a powerful Crobat, but the type matchup is just not in his favor, so that's another loss for him. Talking about doomed characters, next on the chopping block is May and her underwhelming team in front of them all. What can I say, half of her team is not even fully evolved. At least they did not make her the champion like in Generation 1. That would have required a huge amount of suspension of disbelief. Next, after a little bit of grinding, it's time to take on the penultimate gym. While they have some moves like Ancient Power or Solar Beam that could inflict some serious damage on me, I can just spam surf over and over again. Unfortunately for me, Claydol does not die, but they also waste a bunch of turns throwing potions on it, as I bring his HP down every time I attack. Lunaton puts me to sleep, which makes the fight a lot closer than it had any right to be, but eventually we get the win and the psychic badge from the twins. That's not all though, because immediately after this one we have to go lend a hand to Steven while he gets attacked by the Team Magma leaders. This double fight is a lot more straightforward than the previous one, even if it might not seem like it at first, because of all the RNG stuff that they like to do. Surf is again a great move, and I will use it in double fights anytime I have the chance to, because it carries me to victory for the last time against Maxi. Unfortunately, there are a couple of bumps in the road called hitting yourself in confusion, but I'm getting used to them as I have to drive over 10 of them each day when I go to work. When Team Magma leaves the chat, Steven thanks us with the dive HM, so that we are able to go stop Archie just before he wakes up Kyogre. Archie's team is very easy at this point. He only has 3 Pokémons. There could be more RNG shenanigans because of confusion, but it does not happen, so we are safe. Turns out that our efforts are useless as Kyogre gets awoken anyway, and so we have to go press the subscribe button called Rayquaza so that it can smash the like and bell icons, aka Groudon and Kyogre, and we can all collectively thank Rayquaza by leaving a comment. Now that I'm done shilling, we can take on the last gym. This one was the one I was most worried about, because I'm starting to realize that water teams are kinda hard in this game if you don't have anything for them. In this case, I had to make do with a return. I could switch to Ice Beam for a couple of his Pokémons that are neutral to it, but I have to say that it went better than I expected. Kingdra took a little bit more time than I would like, and also got unfrozen immediately, but as long as I don't have to reset because of him, I'll take it. After I finally defeat him too, I can use all of the HMs required to get to the league. But before we can do so, we are stopped by Wally, who wants one last fight. His team is quite weak to Walrain. He has no resistances to both water and ice. Because of it, I can take care of all of his Pokémons with one move each. So far, Walrain is doing quite well, almost like stealing candy from a baby. Side note, who is the guy who invented that saying, and how do you know it's easy? Should we send the IRS his way? Anyway, getting back to the video game. The first member of the Elite Four is Sidney, and the only thing on his team that can maybe leave a move is the Kronaast. But as usual, his AI is not great, so he waits to send it out last, and by then his team got already decimated. Next up is Phoebe, and she could be a bit more painful if she manages to use Curse on me. I don't have any boosting moves to use while he protects, but thankfully one surf is enough to defeat her lead and remove the Curse threat. The rest of her team is a lot less scary, even though Banette could do good damage with Thunderbolt, and the second Tasklops has a Rock Slide. The third member is Glacia, and here we have sort of a mirror fight. Unfortunately, I don't have anything for over half of her team, and just have to use Return over and over. It does good damage, but not enough for a one-shot. Against the two Gladies, I should have used Surf since it is neutral, because Ice only resists Ice, and it would have been a one-hit KO most likely, but it does not matter that much. The fight took quite a bit of time, because each Pokémon requires multiple turns to defeat, but at least we are very safe, since we resist most of their moves and can always take a nap if our HP gets too low. At least I never get paralyzed, so the match goes smoothly and eventually we are done with it. The last Elite Four member is Drake, and his dragon types better be scared, because this fight is chilly and full of ice beams. While Walrain is not a particularly fast Pokémon, and stuff like Salamence and Flygon usually outspeeds, thanks to our massive level advantage I can actually go first every turn, so Drake is even more screwed than what I thought. We finally reached the champion, and like for Juan, this fight is going to be long. This time I did not equip the Pecha Berry, because I can heal Toxic with the rest, but gave Walrain the Silk Scarf instead, to give a tiny bit more power to our normal type return. This is by far not the only move that I will use, because Ice Beam is a bit better on Ludicolo, Gyarados and Whiscash, especially if he intimidates me early into the fight. Ludicolo kinda trolls me a bit with Double Team and does good damage to me with Giga Drain. After taking a couple more hits, my HP is not looking so good anymore, so it's time to use Rest for the only time in the run. Or at least that's what a good player would do. Instead, I keep marching forward. Technically, it's not the worst idea. I should leave one or two more hits, even if they are a crit, so I can always heal later, but it's not very safe nonetheless. Unfortunately, Gyarados does not stay frozen for long, but we are able to take him down anyway. Surprisingly for me, maybe not for you, Walrain managed to beat the whole game with only one unfortunate reset. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video. In that case, subscribe if you are not already, and ring the bell, like and share buttons. See you tomorrow. Bye!